right, good evening, everybody. This is the advanced student call that we're catching up with our students and trying to recap some of the things that we are doing and just go over some of the goals that we talked about in class and to get to know each other just a little bit better. It's been a few weeks since we got together in person, and this allows for us to meet with you and to discuss these things. On these calls, we don't treat you like visitors. This is an opportunity for us to share what's on our heart, some of the things that we're going through, some of the great things, the winning things that we're going through, but also some of the failures that we're going through, just to discuss it and to learn from our mistakes and to keep moving forward, because that's the key. Internet marketing is a constant process. It's like any other business. You have to keep pushing it. We always talk about Google love, and you have to love your website or Google won't love it. Internet marketing is that way. You have to constantly love it and keep pushing it to succeed. And it's never where you have 100% success. You may have a 90% success, or you may fail, but you learn from it and keep moving forward. One of the things I want to kick this off with it's called the law of consistency. And of all the laws of growth, the law of consistency is the one that's probably overlooked the most. When you hear about growth or personal development, you don't think of consistency as being one of the pillars or one of the main things. But in growth, there's a couple laws that I want to talk about tonight, so we can apply them and keep this in front of us while we're doing internet marketing. The first one that I really want to talk about is growth must be intentional. Anytime we're trying to grow and develop, we have to intentionally do it. A lot of people, and you know this in the internet marketing world, they spend hundreds and thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, years of their life trying to learn something or trying to find the next big thing or trying to find that affiliate marketing product or how to do something, and they never really get out there and just intentionally learn how to do something. Sitting down and say, okay, I want to intentionally learn how to do this. Roy and I were talking about this earlier, but today I was studying social media quite a bit. I was studying how often should somebody be posting in social media, like through Twitter and Facebook, Twitter especially, because that interests me. One thing for clients, we're managing social media accounts for people. We need to know, okay, how often should somebody be posting in Twitter? And I intentionally sat down and figured that out. We did some analysis. We were studying people's tweets and how often they tweeted, some of the retweets. We were studying when I just totally spazzed out here the name, but the head of Apple that just passed away. Thank you, Steve Jobs. Wow, it's late. It's 11 o'clock. When Steve Jobs passed, there was 9,600 retweets on it, and we were studying the time of day that happens and how often it happened. And we were basically deciding that you need to be tweeting almost once an hour to have full effect of things and to really connect with your community. You need to tweet from between 5 a.m. and about 6 p.m. about once an hour. So you need about 13 tweets a day, 13 to 14 tweets a day going out, and anything in the evening needs to be social, where you're talking about, hey, I'm hanging out with the kids down at the ballpark, eating out at a restaurant. The more social interactions about the fun stuff, pictures, things like that. But I intentionally sat down and said, okay, I need to learn this. One thing I was setting it up for myself. I'm testing out a couple different social media management systems right now, Hootsuite and Sprout Social. And I wanted to set up the automation with this, and I did a couple studies with it. I spent a few hours going through it, but I intentionally sat down and learned something. Now I can apply it. It's done. I crossed off my list and keep moving on. But intentionally, I was improving my ability not only to communicate with somebody, but to do this for my clients. The second law that I want to look at with the law of consistency is choosing these areas of growth. We have to be very careful what we choose to grow in. Internet marketing is a very large organization or niche. Roy and I know many people that Jerry West or people like that are experts in their area. It might be like affiliate marketing only. Video marketing. I know companies that have a ton of education and quality in video marketing, and you can go so many different ways with this: PHP programming, .NET programming, CMS systems, email marketing, and facing this wall of information can become very difficult. I don't focus in on things that I don't need to know. I choose my areas of growth very wisely, and I only choose one or two areas to really focus in on. Right now, my main focus is outside of social media. I'm trying to build a viral strategy on how to do this, and especially for my clients, how to market a strategy, and what type of software systems to use and like that. And the other area is video. I'm trying to expand our product line, but I need to really understand how to rank a video very quickly, and also how to use social media as effectively as possible. So those are my two main things. If I have any spare time outside of my core business development, I focus in on that and start building out white papers, PDFs, things like that, on step-by-step guides on how to do this to implement. But I'm choosing those areas of growth to make it as easy as I can and to focus in on what's going to make me the most amount of money. During the class, I talked about the Pareto principle a little bit, and the Pareto principle just states that you need to spend 80% of your time on 20% of the highest priority items. And in learning internet marketing, you need to do the same thing. It's so easy to hook up RSS feeds, emails, things like this, and you're going to get a barrage of information, but it's not going to apply for you to make money. If you make money in website development, you have to stay in that focus and keep pushing it. That's the key with that, is choosing those areas of growth, writing it down. If you catch yourself trying to learn something that's not in that area, smack yourself across the head and get back where you're supposed to be, because that's going to be the law of consistency, continually growing in this. The third one that I had to learn the hard way is creating a growth environment. A growth environment means, what does my desk look like? What does my desktop look like? What's my inbox look like? What's the setup in my computer itself? I have to create an area of growth that when I sit down on my computer is conducive to learning and to development. One of the things that I do is I have a folder systems on my computer that really is detailed. I can find anything very, very quickly. I had to learn the find features on a Mac and stuff like this, so I can find things very, very quickly. But I created a growth environment where I can file things simply and effectively to continue this growth process. I also decluttered my desk, changed some things around. That may be as simple as moving your phone from one side to the other, or making sure that all of your, if you work out of a home office, all your home bills and paperwork is not at your work zone. But making that growth environment very, very positive. Another way of this is looking at getting a part of mastermind groups or coaching calls like this, where you can grow and develop, because that continually pushes you. If I ever need encouragement, I have a couple of different sources that I can go to that provide that on a daily basis. It might be an audio I'm listening to, an audio book, a certain type of composer or author, but it provides value to me and to get me rebooted for this growth environment. Like last night, one of the things I was doing, I was listening to Beethoven's Sixth Symphony, and people are going to say, well, why in the world are you doing that? But going back to when I was growing up, I was very heavily involved in orchestration. I actually played in an orchestra for a summer, and that helped me relax and focus in on it. And so if I had to find certain things that do this for me, but it creates a growth environment for me to keep going. The fourth one that we have is allow failure to be your friend. Don't be afraid of failure. Failure is the best thing possible. All successful people fail. And if you really want to look at the failure side of it, look at Thomas Edison and how many times he failed. And he states that if people would understand how close they were to success when they fail, they would keep failing. And that's one of the things that we have to do, because the more we fail, the more we understand what not to do and how to focus that in and keep fine-tuning what we're doing. The fifth one that we have is valuing today. Today is the only time that we have. We don't have tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have other problems to deal with. We only have the time right now, and taking that time and doing it as effectively as possible is gold. A lot of the things, when I look at my scheduling, I go back 2 to 3 years, I used to work probably more hours. It was nothing for me to spend, when I'm at home office, 14, 16 hours at a computer. Now, just because I have an office separately, I got to come home for the food, for supper, and kids and stuff like this. My actual time of work is less than that. Still a lot of hours, but it's a little bit less. But I'm fine-tuning this, working in that today, of having the value today and visualizing what I need to do tomorrow. Anytime I leave my office, I have a note card on my desk that outlines my task for that next day. So I know immediately when I leave that office, I've written down everything that I need to remember. I don't get home and say, oh man, I forgot about something, or I have it written down already. And when I get into the office, it's all written there for me to pick up and do. One of the things that does is it allows for me to play harder when I get home. I don't have to remember certain things because I have it written down. And that allows for me to relax a lot easier. And it also saves me probably, when I first started implementing this, probably only about 8 to 12 months ago, when I first started implementing that, I realized I was wasting about an hour every day when I got to my office, because I would sit there, go through my emails, sit down and try to say, okay, what do I need to do today? And I wasted a lot of time. But valuing today and visualizing tomorrow really sets you in the mindset to get a consistent growth structure down for you. The sixth one in here is developing systems. Systems are the biggest thing that will save you. It may be as simple as a project management system, maybe just as simple as having an inbox system that really details it for you. It may be a note card system. I've got note cards all over the place for me to keep track of certain things and to file things and stuff like that. But having a system that really makes you work in your zone. Some people are totally different. Everything's digital. I don't like digital. I like to write things out. I have notepad after notepad full of information and notes. But develop a system that works for you, and it'll take you a few times to figure that out. Don't be afraid to start something and say, oh, that's stupid, I hate doing it. But keep trying it, because the more you do it, the better it will become, and you'll find what really makes you tick. The seventh one on here is being comfortable with the uncomfortable. When you're learning something new, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be something that's outside of your comfort zone, but you're focusing in on something new. So anytime you're focused on something new and learning something, it's going to be uncomfortable. But getting comfortable, being outside of your comfort zone, will really help you thrive in this internet marketing business. The last one I have on here is talking about we need to be a river, not a reservoir. This means we need to have ongoing stability and the capability to constantly push ourselves and not wear out. It's very easy to go into spurts and to go into short-term wins and okay, I'll work 24 hours and the next 7 days I'm not going to work at all. No, it's talking about being that river, consistent flowing. If you sat beside a river, the water flows almost the exact same speed. Every day of the year, it's constant growth that's happening. So this is a law of consistency. Now, in the law of consistency, we often talk about getting started. And I came across a stat. I don't know, it was the turn of the year where I was talking about New Year's resolutions, and it was saying that the average person actually forgets their New Year resolution in 17 days. And I look back at some of the projects that I've started, and typically in about 17 days I forgot what I was doing. Yes, I thought it was a great idea and important, but unless you write it down and set a system in place, you're not going to achieve it. You're just going to bounce from one thing to the next and keep bouncing and keep bouncing and keep bouncing and never really see success. And when you think about all the laws of growth, consistency isn't a glorious one, but if you master it, this will prove success in it. In this, you talk about motivation. Motivation will get you going. It's so easy to get motivated. You can go listen to Tony Robbins, and he goes, have these events. 6,000 people are motivated, and they actually walk across hot coals. They're extremely motivated, but they get home and they don't do anything, because motivation will get you going, but consistency and discipline will keep growing. And having that discipline to say, okay, today I'm going to do X. Today I'm going to write a blog post, or today I'm going to make enough, 2 more contacts, or whatever that has to be, because that will show you and have you have a consistent growth pattern over the days, weeks, and months. In the class I actually talked about this. We often overestimate what can be done in one day and underestimate what can be done in many days. This is this whole concept that is here that we have to keep focusing in on as we're in internet marketing. Maybe one of the things that can help you in this is actually sitting down at your computer and writing down what you want. We talked about this in the class of masterminding your goals out, and getting a mind map and writing some of these things down. But the more you can consistently write down your task, the more you will do it. I know it's not glorious. It's not grand and glorious to have a to-do list at your desk every morning. When you think about lifestyle, we often think about, well, I just want to show up and work 3 hours, and or the 4-hour work week. But establishing these systems allow for you to actually work less, because when you are working, it will be so much more productive than what you are currently doing. I know it's one thing that has fundamentally changed how I work and the amount of things that I get done. I have a lot of phone calls. Most days I'll have, 7 or 8, 30-minute to an hour long phone calls. So in between those, I only have 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get ready for the next call, and I have to do other tasks in there too, answer emails, stuff like this. But this system allows for me to handle all these tasks because I have it written down. Anytime I have a downtime, I can work on the next item. So it really keeps me going. So that's some of the thoughts that I've been going through right now, and it's been really helping me to stay focused and take my business to the next level. And I know Roy has been working on some things too, so we're going to
well, David,
turn it over to him right now.
Before I discuss some of the things that's going on with me, I'm kind of disappointed with you, Dave. You didn't tell us, what's coming down the road there with your son.
Yes, we found out what number 5 is going to be today. It's a boy. So I've got 4 boys and a girl. My daughter was not happy that she was the only girl, but oh well, can't do anything about it. I'm not having another one. 5's enough.
I was surprised you didn't. Lisa, you can hear us, right? I just want to make sure you can hear us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Cool. So,
congratulations, David.
Thank you.
Now, a couple things, what's going on here at our end. First off, you notice the classroom behind me is all empty. It's still kind of messy from our workshop. It's because I really haven't had time to, kind of knock down the tables and stuff. I've been working, pretty much night and day and trying to get these videos all done for you. I'm on day 2 of the advanced videos right now, actually going in and editing the video with Ken during his site review, and I'll be rendering that tonight. So I'll start working on day 3 tomorrow. I should have everything done on video by the end of the week. And so what I'll be doing early part of next week, I'll be sending you all your videos because those you guys that attended, you get the free video from the workshop you attended. So sorry for the delay, but we'll get that out to you early next week, and so you should be expecting that. A couple things that I've heard some from not from the students from this particular class. We had another workshop. When was that, David? Back in our last workshop was in October of last year. The one that Markman was in.
I think so.
All right, Markman was in our advanced class last year, and he came to our workshop. He was probably one of the most successful affiliate marketers I ever met. Mark had, the best way to describe it is an empire. His specialty was Dish Network, DirecTV, some of the cable companies, and I'm sure there was many others. And Mark was doing very, very well until last May. He was basically every month bringing in $500,000 to $1 million a month in affiliate marketing fees. And he had a staff working for him. He had 45 people on staff. He had 5 or 6 web developers. He had a number of content writers. And each week he would launch, maybe 15 or 20 websites that were out there in the affiliate marketing space. And life was good for Mark until last May when the Penguin update basically wiped him out. Thankfully for Mark, he had quite a bit of money put aside in reserve. He did have to lay off, I think it was about 40 of his 45 people, and just kept on a couple key players in there to keep everything running. And he went from basically just under $1 million a month to maybe making $250, $300 a month because Penguin wiped out his entire portfolio. So Mark came out and attended our workshop in October, and since October, Mark and I have been working pretty closely behind the scenes trying to get everything figured out. Now, remember during our advanced training, David spoke a lot about the link building, if you recall, using social media spaces, using direct match domain names, and things like that. Well, I'm really, David, you hit it right on the head during that workshop. And in fact, what I did, I got that information out to Mark, and Mark agrees. Because since in the last 6 weeks, Mark's been basically following what you said here again, repeated at our last workshop. He followed that in October to the T, And David, and he's very, very happy in what your recommendations were, because he said right now about 85% of his websites that were smashed because of Penguin are back up there. All right. So he followed what you said in the advanced training as far as rebuilding his network, and he's done very well in that. Now, a couple of takeaways that Mark has shared with me that I'll share with you guys tonight. And David, I know you've done some studies, but this is basically for Mark. I'd like to hear your perspective, David. But first, let me give you Mark's perspective, some of the things he's seen. Mark found that it was somewhat very easy to rebuild his site, as long as the site was still within the top 10 of Google, top 10 pages of Google, I should say. He has a number of websites. I'm going to say about 70% of his portfolio, was in the number one, number two, or number three position prior to Penguin, and subsequent to Penguin, about 75%, 80% of his portfolio were still on the top 10 pages, maybe on the third page or sixth page. And what he shared with me, in fact, this was a call yesterday, he said those pages that were still on the top 10 of pages, following what he learned in the advanced workshop, he was able to rebuild all those sites and get them back up there. They're all on this first page of Google right now. Now, the ones he had some difficulty with were the ones that were ranking on the, let's say, the 11th page to the 18th page. He said to me, if they were on the first 10 pages, he found that it basically took him about 3 weeks to a month to get those back up, David. And he then related, if it was like from 11 to 18, it took him about 3 months since doing it, working on those pages, but they have come back. So first off, Mark wanted me to express his thanks to you for those things you shared in the advanced workshop, and also, our last workshop, those who are on the call tonight. And David, I'd like to ask you some of what your thoughts were, because I know you work with a lot of the clients on the client end of it. What's your experience on bringing sites back like that?
Yeah, if you look at actually what Penguin was, Penguin is over optimization penalty. So when it's over optimized, you have to figure out what to optimize. And some of it was on page. If it's an on page issue, one of the things that you will notice right away that's only a couple keyword sets. That's usually how you can usually tell if it's an over optimization of an on page issue. It'll still rank for certain things. Certain things will be still on the first page. If you pretty much have any keywords on the first page, they're an on-page issue. If the whole entire site just bombs, then it's usually an off-site issue. There could still be some on-page issue, but it's usually off-site. And it's just figuring out those ratio of the link side of it. And I'm trying to remember the list I had written down. I think there's like 7 different issues that we look at. One is anchor text. One is relevancy of the pages the anchor text is on. Diversity of the links. If it's like a Web 2.0 property, is it a hard site? Is it like a directory site? Is it a niche related site? Things like that. The other one would be no follow. What's the no follow to follow ratio? The other one would be like C blocks. Is there a high amount of links from different C blocks? What's the disbursement of the links on the site itself, home page versus interior pages, what that looks like. I'm forgetting one here. All deleted and dead. How many links are dead and deleted? Most people say, well, you don't want any links coming to your site that are deleted or dead. Well, most likely, what I'm finding, about 99% of the sites out there have at least 25% dead links coming to their site. Just the way the internet works. Pages move, things like that. And keeping those, there's a lot of different ratios that we've tested and trying to find those, but those are the main areas that we've been looking at, and finally figuring out what Penguin and where that safe zone is for Penguin.
Yeah, I had muted myself.
Still muted. There you are.
All right. One question you didn't answer for me, and something I heard from Mark, and I want to see if you agree with this or what your thoughts are on it. Basically, Mark smart statements. If he was still within the first 10 pages of Google, his comment was it was maybe only one or two things he had to change, and he came right back. And those were the things that he took away from the advanced workshop from you. Are your observations the same, or was he just lucky?
I think he's a little bit lucky. I would say top 30, yes. Top 30, we've seen it as quick as 4 hours. Last test we did last week, we had a site that we it was a little bit different scenario. It was a site we launched post Penguin, and we over optimized it, and it dropped out of the top 30. It's like in the 60s, 30 to 60, and we immediately saw what we did and changed it slowly, not to raise red flags. As soon as we had changed it back, within 4 hours, it was back up. So I think anything over the 30 to 60 range, yes, that's a good example. Past 60, definitely over 100. It's more of a longer-term issue. If it's out the top 300, that's going to take a couple months.
Okay.
Because normally those are the sites that have 500,000 links coming into it.
When you say 500,000 links, you're going to say toxic links is what it.
Yeah, toxic or total links, but it's just what happens is to change the percentages takes so much longer, because if you have the site I was working on had like 2.9 million links to it, and we had to change the percentage of certain things, and we basically had to change 50% of the links. Well, to build up what would be almost 2 million links, you can't do overnight. I mean, you can, but it's not healthy.
Now, one thing Mark shared also with me, and I agree with Mark on this, and I want to get your feedback on this, David, from the agency perspective. Mark says he did not file any the link disavow. He did not use the link disavow tool to disavow any of his toxic links. He just went in there using the tips that he took away from the workshop to build new links. What are your thoughts about, and he says he doesn't want to use the link disavow tool because he doesn't want somebody from Google looking at his website.
The disavow tool will have people look at your website.
Yeah.
Now, for a client side of it, I will use it. Give me feedback. If I don't know if it's especially if I don't know it's a link issue, I think it's an on-page issue, and I don't see a lot of toxic links, and I know they're not black hat. I can do a disavow tool and a resubmission. Google will send me back an email and say, we're sorry, you still have these two issues, and it allows for me to focus in on it. Sometimes it'll be you've got a coding issue, or you got on-page issue, or you got some toxic links or something like that, and then it allows for me to look at that. Also in this that Google just revealed is in Webmaster Tools, it'll give you recent links. So you can actually go into Google and look at the recent links to see what's happening on your site. Go in there and spend some time going through that, because you can really go through and find out the ones that are junk. Especially if you're going out there doing heavy links, you can see how long it takes for links to get indexed, not only in the servers but into the backside of Webmaster Tools. Outside of what Ahrefs will pretty much notice it right away, but Webmaster Tools it might take a few days. And I actually did a service that turned out. So if you're doing certain things, look at Webmaster Tools right away to see what that is.
Have you noticed in recent links anything yet as far as competitors trying to use negative SEO? Have you seen any toxic links?
Yeah, I've got a site right now. I'm working on that. I don't know if it'd be a competitor, but they had a forum on their site, and it got picked up by the automated black hat tools, and I think I figured it out. They're hitting almost 25 to 30,000 links a day that are pornography links to an old forum that's no longer there, but it just keeps hitting it, and there are 404 links to the site, and you can't do anything about it.
Wow.
So something like that, we disavow, and we send in a re-inclusion request to Google, and that stuff like that. That's when you start using that type of tool. Looking at Google and saying, provide me information, and they disavowed anything coming into a /forum on the site,
okay.
And that's actually helped the site. It's bounced back. They still send us some things to work on, and that's why you use the re-inclusion. If you don't know what to do, it does give you ideas on what to do.
Okay. I'd like to open up to the other students. Stella. Stella, you have anything you'd like to discuss? Anything you want to discuss?
I do have a question about the negative SEO toxic links. How do you, and this may be right before I got there, but how do I measure that or determine any toxic links that may be coming in or may be there that I'm not aware of from clients?
There's a big debate on what toxic link means.
Okay.
I have a lot of clients that think all links are toxic, and I feel like smacking them. Toxic links are really only the time you have toxic links is when you get a notification from Google. You know, if you're getting that email or there's an email inside of Webmaster Tools that you have a link issue or an unnatural linking profile, you have a toxic link issue. Now, there again, we don't know if that toxic link email is automated. I think it is. So it's looking at certain standards of links, and what we can tell is it's low-quality links, and also if it's not even pornography, but if it's unnatural sites. So if it's coming from a site that's been hacked, if it's coming from a site that is malware, spam, that type of thing is where it's at. People don't realize, but pornography links are out there. You know, it's probably, I would say, pushing 60 to 70% of links online. You know, so they're out there, and Google can't do an unnatural linking to all of that because people in that niche are linking with pornography links. So it's normal linking for them to do that. It's the issue when it's a hack site, stuff like that. So if you get an unnatural linking issue through Webmaster Tools, that's when you're looking at toxic links. The other side of it is there's two emails that come through Google. One is unnatural, and one is, hey, we noticed linking to your site that's not of your doing. That's the different side of it. But the tools that are out there to use is Webmaster Tools and recent links, and then Ahrefs is the easier way to find those links and just go to it and say, okay, is this a quality link or not? Quality link, I would say that it has to be indexed in Google, and there's less than 100 links coming out of that page. And it's relative. It's not just junk.
Okay, so say that again. Quality links are less than 100 links coming out of the page?
Typically less than 100. Doesn't matter if it's follow, no follow. It has to be a quality, it needs to be a decent page. Now, decent for linking is different than decent for indexing. It can't have, you know, if you have a Scottsdale barber and it's on a, just think of a raunchy, you know, if it's a raunchy, half pornography, half black hat, half junk site with a bunch of, you know, .jp links, and it's a bunch of mess with a lot of casinos and gambling and that type of things on it, that can be a toxic link.
Okay. Okay, and all that can be measured through Webmaster.
Webmaster Tools recent links will show you those that are coming in. I like Ahrefs the best, but that's, you know, I think it's like, what, $90 a month.
Yeah, I just subscribed to that, so I'm getting familiar with it. I'm trying to learn that program and
look at the use the is it the new and old link, or the new link area where you can actually look and go back the last 30 days and see what new and added, which ones have been dropped. That will help. And then I like to sort it by authority, so I know total links and what the domain authority of that's coming in, and then go down and find all the junk authority ones. Those are the ones that you want to be careful of.
Okay, so what do you do if you find yourself with some of these junk?
Nothing. That's where you have to counteract it. Don't think of it as removing. Think of it as how can I counteract it.
Okay. Okay.
The percentages.
Okay. One other thing, you mentioned the follow, no follow ratio. What should that be?
All depends on the competition, but the range that I've seen is it's typical to have a 10 to probably 35 to 40% no follow rate. But the best way to find that is go into Open Site Explorer, pick your top 5 competitors, throw it in that tool, and do a comparison. It'll show you the no follow to follow ratio. That's what you need to be. So it's based on niche.
One other thing, Dave, you mentioned shop that we should make sure that we have. You usually set up an email with the with their account, do like Dave@company.com, whatever the company name is, and you set it up in Webmaster separate for each client instead of having it like I do under my account.
Correct.
What's the theory?
There's two theories. It's one time, anytime you set up any type of Google accounts, it needs to be with an email from that domain. So if it's a client and they don't have analytics, something like that, have them set up a forwarding email at ga@company.com or contact@company.com or something that you can go set up all the Google accounts from that domain. That tells Google that you're a real player.
Okay.
Now, when I'm dealing with clients that already have it, we have a dummy Gmail account set up that gives us access to all these. We have, like, I think it's analytics login review at gmail.com. One of the reasons is that because we do a lot of white labeling, companies can't see who we are because we're working through a secondary marketing firm. So this is where we can be added to their analytics, and it's no branded. It's not branded at all. So, but we try to keep it where we have one access to these, but we're a user on that account. We're not the admin.
Okay. So you just look at it. All right. And then okay. The other things I guess I can ask later if Lisa wants to jump in and take up one.
Okay, Lisa, what do you have? Anything?
Yeah, we've got a site we're working on. It's about 23,000 product pages.
Wow.
And we launched a whole new site, everything, yeah. And the organics versus the pay-per-click rankings are just fine. Everything's good. But we had 301 redirects on everything because every URL changed. Not in the domain part of it, but in the suffixes part.
So in the product pages?
And yeah, so everything had a 301 redirect. Well, my Google Analytics information tanked because when you're trying to measure paid traffic, it appends your URLs with some code, and so it's pushing all my traffic into the organics. Now, I used the AdWords editor tool to download the entire site. I've used SQL to change my URLs, and I'm going to update them tomorrow. So my question to you after that is, should I be resubmitting an XML sitemap, or should I be using Google Fetch, the Google Fetch tool and the Webmaster tools? What do you think I should be doing to reestablish that Google comes and reindexes my site as quickly as possible?
Definitely the sitemap first, because Google will find your sitemap, or is already on the sitemap. So it's on the sitemap finding false pages right now. Typically, one of the first things that we do is go through the sitemap and reorganize that to make sure that is accurate. The second side of that is submitting that sitemap to Webmaster Tools. You'll want to watch the crawl rate of it through Webmaster Tools, because that's one of the main things that we work on for SEO for large sites is the crawl rate. Some of that comes down through reorganizing the priorities in the sitemap, making sure that your top priority is being crawled daily, and working down from there. Fetch, I probably wouldn't worry about that much, because if you're going to start ordering the site, it's probably going to happen anyway. So it's probably just the sitemap side of it. A site that large, you're going to probably want a couple sitemaps. So more than one. But make sure you submit those into Google Webmaster Tools.
And if you don't make more than one sitemap, just a little tip, Lisa, if you're going to keep it on one sitemap, make sure you use the compression tool, so you compress that, because otherwise Google's not going to go through that entire sitemap if you have it all on one page. But I would go along with David's recommendation in making separate sitemaps for that. And then also remember making a sitemap for your images, and then any videos you have, make a separate sitemap for your videos.
And there's another way to do that inside your robots. If you're doing multiple sitemaps, go into your robots text file and add them as different sitemaps. So you'll just have a sitemap : URL, and do that. So in your robots.txt, you'll have 4, 5, 6, 7. I only enter those in my robots.txt if I have more than one sitemap, because sitemap.xml is normal. Robots look at that right away anyway. But if you have more than one, they don't. So in the robots text files, tell your robots, here's my sitemaps.
And Lisa, I have a question for you. Do you have any
Okay, I like the
Go ahead, Lisa.
I like the idea of separating them because we're constantly adding new products as well, and we use Google Checkout. We have a whole, huge mass upload of products and everything so that for our e-commerce. And I also then am manually inputting products all the time that go into the pay-per-click campaign. So I like the idea that you just gave me of using separate sitemaps because the newest sitemap could be updated more often than the others when I have new products to add. So that would be nice because they're 1,000. Okay.
Lisa, I have a question for you. Do you have separate pages for your pay-per-click campaigns? And basically, do you have pages that are specific to your AdWords campaign that are not organic for your organic? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a specific landing page that's meant to drive traffic to it based on a pay-per-click topic.
Yeah.
Yes, in that I have category pages, so that if I'm saying power wheelchairs versus beach wheelchairs, or electric or battery, I can request that they give me a page that's built around a smaller subset of topics, rather than just going to one landing page that represents all wheelchairs.
All right, just to avoid the duplicate content penalty, the reason I asked that, I want to make sure you're going to avoid the duplicate content penalty. So, make sure that you index those pages so those particular pages do not get indexed for your pay-per-click. And then I'd also probably do a canonical tag on that also, just in case Google just, comes to that particular page organic-wise, that you could redirect with the canonical tag to the organic page that you want to have indexed. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, we do use canonical tags for the main pages for the wheelchairs, for every product, in fact.
Did you say that all of your landing pages are changing URL structure?
Yes, and we've been monitoring it very carefully. The site's been live for 1 week now, and we had it up, beta testing it, and then went live, and then now we've been doing a shakeout to fix anything that's wrong. And it's been quite successful.
Did you see a spike in AdWords at all for cost per click and quality score?
No, I haven't noticed any differences in pay-per-click other than that I can't measure it properly. But in terms of, I get the costs on my pay-per-click daily, if not sometimes twice a day, and I have it divided out among all the categories that all have campaigns, and I monitor them, and they're all even. They're just a little bit of a spike because I raised the bid amount on my product listing ads by 10 cents for the month of April as a test, but nothing scary. And I checked it this morning, and everything's on track to be approximately the same as last month.
Good deal. Good deal.
How do you talk to people about the social media piece? Because I have clients that dismiss that as not as important, and I know it is important, and I know definitely speaking with you guys that you've proven how valid that is. But what kind of conversation do you have with people when they don't really understand how it works? They don't use it. How do you approach that?
That's a tough one. It all depends on the niche. Some niches I don't push.
Right. I understand.
But the ones that can work, like I'm trying to work right now for Toys R Us. Toys R Us has no social media presence at all, and we're trying to put together a package for them. I know.
Wow.
And things like that. They know they need it, but they don't. Some will know they need it, but they just don't know how to do it. Those are the easy ones. The ones that don't have it, that don't need it, try to include it in what you're doing, and just say, okay, I'm going to set up this month. We're going to focus on social media, and I just want to get it up and going. And you can automate some of it to a point, but at least get the presence up there, and try to do a push, like an infographic off of a blog or something like that, and just see what the community does. before. You don't want to pitch something that you don't have a test for. So just do a test through the SEO side of it. Say, for SEO this month, we're going to focus on social media a little bit just to get it set up so we have profiles and things like that, and then see what happens.
Okay.
And then if you see that sales are made, then step in and say, oh, by the way, this is what's going on.
And what amazes me a lot in the social media space, even with big companies, is they just don't get the this whole social media stuff at all. As an example, what was it? 2 years ago, David, we worked with the Apprentice launch.
3
years ago, okay. And the way that whole thing came about, it was a phone call from hell. Here we have the Trump network reaching out. I mean, the dream customer that you want to get calling you up, and their first question out of their mouth was, "We want to be number one for the search term in the next 30 days." Well, I couldn't flush down my integrity and make a promise to them that they would be number one in that particular space. There was no way in heck that they could be number one for the keyword they wanted to optimize. Not in 30 days, 60 days, or probably even a year. It was a very competitive term. But what I was able to do was turn around that conversation and say, well, we can have a lot, how's your social media space look? What's going on in social media? Because we really could push those particular keywords in social media. And they said, well, we're not really, we don't do that at all. Can you run the social media campaign for us? And the one they wanted us to run was, what was it, Ivanka, Donald Trump's daughter, if I recall, right, David?
Yeah, there was a couple of ones actually.
Yeah, but the main one they wanted us to push was Ivanka's. And I said, well, I don't know where Ivanka is going to be shopping. She's into all this jewelry stuff. So basically, what we had was, I think it was like an 8-hour phone conference with the Trump network and her handlers, and we taught them on how to use the social media. And so so her handlers that went out with her, they were the ones that were doing the Facebook tweets. They were doing the tweets on Twitter and all that social media space, and they hit it out of the ballpark. All right, there was no way that David or I could sit here in Phoenix and me pretend to be Ivanka, and talk about jewelry or anything like that, or going shopping, for shoes, the high heel shoes, the things she's into. It wouldn't work. But once they understood that social media space, and they were able to train her handlers, because quite frankly, she doesn't go out by herself. She has her entourage, and somebody in her entourage had that, phone and was using her Facebook account, bang, 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 and they were knocking it out. Now, here's Toys R Us. We're getting ready to sign a contract with Toys R Us, and they understand SEO, but they don't understand social media at all. Now, look at all the opportunities they are missing with all these moms out there.
I know.
I mean, that's their target demographic, is to, get their social media open up for their moms and get this all cranking here before the Christmas holidays. And that's, something we're going to, again, their first comment to us, well, you run it for us. Well, how are we going to, I'm not in a Toys R Us store. I don't know what's on sale. I don't know what's going on in these particular stores. So we got to train their staff, and then the staff in all their stores, because they're the ones that need to be speaking in social media. They're the ones that need to be engaging their customer base. They're the ones that need to be engaging their moms. And so it's just basically a training. And once they understand that and see how easy it is, and understand the platform, they knock it out of the ballpark, and it helps build up their SEO stuff and everything. It's the whole customer engagement thing. So we've seen this with the Trump network. We're seeing that with Toys R Us, and David could list out a bunch more to you, but a lot of these companies still don't get it today.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah, especially that size, or a conglomerate, just this huge company. That size that doesn't have social media is just shameful in this day and age. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can understand smaller companies, local companies maybe haven't gotten on board, but the big ones, they should be. That's a great forum for them to market and to connect. Definitely.
And all it is training, because they haven't. a lot of these big companies have it in their mind that I could just go out and buy TweetDeck and just go load up TweetDeck for the next 6 months of all these tweets I'm going to send out on Twitter, and for the next 6 months I'll put all the Facebook posts. No, you have to engage. You have to talk to your clients like we're talking right now on in this GoToMeeting. We're having a conversation in real time, and the same thing has to be true in the social media space. This has to be a real-time conversation. What is going on now in this, right here in our time period, and have a two-way, three-way, or big-way conversation. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, David, do you have anything in closing?
No, I'm pretty much done over here. It's almost 12:30. So.
Yeah, it's almost 12:30. Lisa, do you have anything? Lisa?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Stella, do you have anything in closing?
No, I've kept you guys long enough. I appreciate you answering my questions. I
Okay.
really do. It's
All
great to get the follow-up.
All right. In closing, I just want to wrap up. Again, probably about next week, I'm going to say probably around Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll start shipping out your USBs from the class. So, start looking for those, coming to you in the mail. So you'll be getting those. And I'm trying to think what else. Anyway, we had that. Oh, David, you want to talk about that? During the advanced class, we did that video. David, you want to talk about that? How that went? I mean, we're just seeing some phenomenal results.
It's up right now in YouTube, or just go to SEOtraining.sw.com and go to the SEO tips. You'll see the 2 videos up there. We're getting a lot of good feedback from those, so if you want to review those, they're there.
I uploaded that video late last night, and within the last not even 12 hours, we have about 160 views on that video right now. Probably about 4 or 5 emails from people that want to join us, in the white label program that emailed me, and David's got has a couple of emails too. So, and that it's #1 in YouTube for a couple segments, right, David?
Yeah. So it's starting to rank well and looking good.
So anyway, want to thank David. We'll probably have another follow-up call. Say what, about another 2 weeks?
Yeah, it all depends on scheduling. I'm not sure. What are we at? April? Yeah, maybe. I may be out of town. I'm not sure.
All right, David's going to be out of town, but here with the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have another follow-up call with all you guys to see how you're doing. If you do have any questions, concerns between now and then, please email us direct. And if we need to, we could set up a one-on-one for you guys. So anyway, thank you everyone for being on the call tonight. I know it's kind of late for everybody out there. I know it's late for David. It's past his bedtime. So anyway, I'll let you guys go now, and good luck. And if you have any problems or concerns, please reach out. So anyway, this is Roy Ryer from SEOtrainingsw.com. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.